Chris Lambert, you're turning 50. Who knew you were going to make it this long? I certainly didn't. Probably because I tried to shoot you, and I missed. That sucked. I wish I would have got you. That would have been a lot better. I would have made for a better story. You could have really had a roast on me that time. Well, guess what? Shoes on the other foot, and here I come. Actually, you just caught me wrapping your birthday gift. And what I did was I went around the neighborhood and talked to some people about what I should put in my little birthday box I got here for you, man. What can I get Chris Lambert, the man that's got everything? Beautiful wife, kids, the big house, the big business, houses, plural, Hawaii, you name it. You the man, no question about it. But I went around, I talked to people, and the first guy I went and saw was Dave Jordal, and he said, I go up to him, I go, you know, you've got hair plugs, Chris, and so does Dave, and so he gave me these to fill in the hair plug holes. He said, these are the kind that Chris needs. They're big because you got some missing hair gap here, buddy, and you know, when those plugs fall out, you got to put something in them, and it's a wine corks is what they are, and I've got a lot of them if you need them, and I know you drink a lot of wine, so you probably have quite a few yourself, but that's what Dave Jordal told me to get you. He said, for hair plugs like his and yours, that's what we're talking about right there, buddy. So put that back in the box, and then I went up, and I thought to myself, you know, Rose is a good probably 10, 15 years younger than you, works out all the time, just rocked, stud, everything else. And I know you're getting insecure about it, and I would be too, especially if my wife was out lifting me like she does you. And so I went and saw Chuck Duvall, who's also got a really great and shaped wife, you know, beautiful blonde. And I go, Chuck, you know, when you turned 50, what really made a difference to you? And when he said, he goes, well, when I turned 50 and my wife's still in great shape and starting to lose, he goes, you know, really, steroids did it for me. And so I got some steroids from Chuck Duvall. And he said, just, you know, Chris will get used to the little prick. And I said, well, Chris is used to a lot of little pricks. He enjoys that. And so he's just a little prick with a needle, buddy, and you're back in the game. You'll be out lifting rows in no time. Don't worry about it. Put that right back in the box. And then I thought to myself, you know, I better make amends with Brian Comstock. Brian Comstock, he's 60, 65, somewhere in there. And I asked him, I go, Brian, you know, what made a difference in your life when you turned 50? And what he told me was, what made a big difference was these blue pills that I got from him. He gave me a bunch of these for you, buddy. They're Enzyte or something, and that's from Brian Comstock. He said that's the magic maker right there. You know, his wife's 10, 15 years younger than him, and he's almost 70 now. But he said that's the real deal. I'd go, oh, hey, you know, I'll take your word for it. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I'm only 10 years younger than you. Then I thought to myself, you know, Chris, when you get older, you don't know if it's warm or cold outside. So I went and got you a little thermometer, a little outside air temperature gauge. It's from aviation, actually, is what this is for. And I thought to myself, you know, Chris, this is about as high as you're going to get, but there you go, buddy. Got you a little temperature gauge. So if you're wondering, am I cold, am I old, or is it really cold outside, you just use this, and you'll know you're either old or cold. So it's either cold or not. Anyway, so there you go for that. Then I went and saw Jeff Hansen, the guy you emulate the most, and I said to myself, you know, God, I don't know what Hansen's going to recommend to get. And I went up to him, I said, well, what do you recommend Chris does? He goes, well, look more like him. And I said, well, how do you do that? And he goes, well, needs to get his hair blonde and frosted again. I said, well, what can I do for that? He goes, well, here, give him this bottle of bleach. This is what he uses on his hair. And I know, you know, you'd like to do the same thing with the hair you both have left, all 6 strands of it. And there's that right there. So I'm going to put that back in the box for you, man. And then I went and saw Dean Bergen. And I said, Dean, you're 60 now, and your wife's probably 40. And what made a difference when you turned 50? You know, you've been there and done that. And he said, well, God dang, don't, you know, I lost my balls at 50. And I said, well, where'd they go? And he goes, well, Marlene had them in her purse. And I go, well, God dang, what am I going to do with that? And he goes, well, no problem. Just go ask Marlene for them. Maybe she'll loan them to Chris. And so I went and got Dean's balls for you. She gave me both of them, actually. And here they are. And you can use them since you've kind of lost yours, according to Rose. I don't know what that means, but they're dirty balls, as you can tell by looking at them. Kind of scuffed up too. Look like maybe they've been hit by one too many drives. I don't know what happened there. I mean, looks like somebody had a party at his house and got them dirty. I don't know how that happened, but and then I thought, you know, Chris, what you really need is a pick me up. Who do you look like that's powerful and, you know, good looking? And I thought, you know, what Chris really looks like is kind of like a young Phil Collins. You look like a young Phil Collins, buddy. Look at that hair. That's what I'm talking about. You know, he kind of trying to act as if he still has some, kind of flopping over you. You look like a young Phil Collins. That's what I'm talking about. Does that make you feel better? It should make you feel good. Yeah, rich, powerful, can sing. You know, probably has a Ferrari too. I don't know, something like that. We'll just put that right down there. So that's that. And then I went up and I saw I wanted to make a portrait for you, and I went and saw my sketch artist at the police station in Oregon City. And she's a nice lady, God, great artist. And I said, you know, I started to describe you and who you look like, which is Jeff Hansen. And what it really came down to, buddy, she started to sketch this out, and here's what she came up with: a picture of you and Jeff Hansen, which is kind of neat. And I found it, and that's what you're going to look like in 10 years, she said. She goes, so when Chris, you know, gets to be closer to 60, he's going to start to wander and get lost, but I got what you look like, you and Hansen. So if you both get lost together, which I expect you will, probably going to the titty bar or something, that we can find you. We can find you no matter what, bud. Yeah, got it handled. You know, I thought to myself, you know, who else does Chris remind me of in 10 years that's powerful and studly and awesome and everything? And I came up with, Voldemort. You're going to look like Voldemort, man. That's your next one you're going to look like, Voldemort. So, you know, there you go, man. That's you angry. I've seen it before. I'll see it again. Yeah, I'm excited about it. There you go. But, you know, all jokes aside, I love you. Great times with you. Rose Bowl, parties, having a beer or two, shooting at you, whatever. But, you know, you're one of my dear close friends. And if you ever needed anything, I would be there for you in all seriousness. Nothing would stop me. And I know if I was in deep trouble, you'd come to my rescue too. You're a great dad, incredible businessman, great husband, a hell of a friend. You know, you're my brother from another mother. I love you. And I really hope you have a heck of a 50th birthday party. And just to let you know how serious I was about all those comments about your hair and everything, I thought I'd do this speech for the most important room I could think of that, according to your family, you spend the most time in. And I just wanted to tell you I love you. And, you know, you're turning 50. And as you can see, I did it from the room that is the most important to you at this age, the bathroom. So from me to you, welcome to 50, buddy. It's all downhill from here. I love you, man.